Here's Abby. Why do you look terrified? Huh?
What the fuck was that? Hi, I'm Mary, the writer.
Hi, I'm Sally, the artist.
And today we're talking about Black Leopard, Red Wolf by Marlon James.
Section
And if you want to take... Yes, oh yeah, section 1 only, because we have a lot of thoughts. And we decided it would be a lot easier to understand and be a shorter video if we just took it one section at a time.
Yeah.
Like, this is what I have so far. And that's after taking out some stuff. So.
Yeah, hopefully doing it in sections will be easier than doing the whole book, considering the last book we did was not nearly as long, and somehow we ended up with a 1-hour video that was way longer than we expected it to be.
So yeah, it's actually it's the first book in the Dark Star trilogy. So it's a fantasy book, and it's a very long one. It's 620 pages.
And it's second person POV, which is very new. I don't think I've ever read a book that was second person.
There are some, but yeah, I don't know that I've personally read any of them.
It's really interesting.
Definitely interesting. Yeah, exactly.
The book is about a young man known only as Tracker, and he's not even known as Tracker until halfway through section 1. He doesn't really have a name at the beginning. The second person is Tracker telling stories of his life to someone called the Inquisitor, and it seems like he's imprisoned, but we don't know for sure yet, or why. Drawing from African history and mythology and his own rich imagination, Marlon James has written a saga of breathtaking adventure that's also an ambitious, involving read. This book is really interesting in that you don't see a lot of books anymore with the old-fashioned maps. I mean, some of them are coming back. That's a thing that's coming back. But this one has maps in front of every section to mark where the sections are taking place, and I really love that about this. They also have a list of the characters you meet at the beginning of each section. So the characters we meet in the first section, obviously Tracker, and then we have Kaba, who at first he's called the Moonlit Boy because he's covered in like a white paint when Tracker first meets him. But his name is Kaba. Beloved Uncle, that's the only name we know him by. Beloved Uncle is the chief of the Coup, and the Coup is a tribe that Tracker stumbles into after he runs away. And then we also have the Sangoma, which is an anti-witch, so not a witch. She doesn't like that. And the Mingi children. So the Mingi children are deformed children that they think are cursed or evil.
That some people think are cursed or evil, yeah.
Yes, some people. It's like in the north of this land, they don't believe the same kind of things that the lower tribes do, like the southern tribes do. They think of the Coup as kind of hillbillies. That's the only way I can describe it.
Yeah, the river tribes, and they speak pretty negatively of them.
Yes. Black Leopard we meet right away. Well, not right away. We meet in section 1, and he doesn't have a name other than the Leopard, or Leopard. And he's a shape-shifting human. So he's a leopard that can turn into a human, not a human that turns into a leopard.
Yeah. That's how he prefers it. I really like how it starts. It starts with a pretty killer line that hooks you right away. The child is dead. There's nothing left to know. And then after that, Tracker is being interrogated and tortured by a fetish priest called Inquisitor. And he tells stories about his past, but we don't really know if they're true or not, or like what in them is true. And then he had fought with his father and ran away, his abusive father, and possibly killed him. It's unclear. He doesn't even know if he did or not. And that's when he meets Kava and the coup. The stories that he tells about the past are mostly like jobs that he did, like after he ran away and after, I assume it's after the coup that he did these, like, you know, the contracts and stuff. Like a merchant contracts with him to find his wife, because the tracker has a nose and can find lost things, and people, obviously. The merchant sends him after his wife, and he finds there's 3 huts in 3 villages that she supposedly lives in. He goes to each one of them, and like whatever, they turn out to not be her until the very end. And the last woman tried to poison him in like Masuku beer, I think it was. And he needs the money, so even though the husband is abusive, he brings her back to him, but then also tells her, like, before he leaves, not lady in waiting, but you know what I mean, like her servant that was going to poison him, just like, you know, use the wife's poison called cobra spit, which tastes like nothing once you put water with it, and to give that to serve that to the husband. So, you know,
he gets his money and he has a conscience.
Yeah. Also, the next one was Queen and the Drowned King. So he like travels to the underworld, which is kind of crazy, and it made me think of like Greek mythology. Yeah. And he gets cursed while he's there. So these creatures, they're demons, and they're called the Omoluzu, and they can now, from like now on, they can always track him if they're nearby and he's under a roof. So you kind of expect that that's going to come back at some point in the story.
Yeah, because they travel upside down on the roof of buildings.
Yeah.
So that's how they can.
Yep.
Yeah, it's like shadow people.
So he meets the leopard because Kava just decides to take him somewhere to find the leopard, and then meets the Sangoma and the Mingi. And he goes on a mission with the leopard that Sangoma sent him on to like find another like lost child, another Mingi. And when they return, the village is burnt. Most of the children are dead. He goes, they go to the hut and the Sangoma is dead. And then of course they hunt down the bastards that did that. And it includes his uncle and Kava. So they take the children that are left and they leave them with the Gangatom?
Yeah, I've been pronouncing it
Gangatom
in my head.
Gangatom?
That's another tribe, a different tribe that's enemies of the Ku tribe.
Right. And they don't have the same superstitions about the different children like that.
Your first impressions when starting to read this?
I loved it. It was, you know, at the very beginning, I wasn't really sure about Tracker. He kind of seemed like a douche, and he's very much like an embodiment of toxic masculinity. Like, he doesn't know how to handle his emotions, and he talks like all this kind of bullshit. Like, at one point, I think he does a your mama joke, basically, to a guy who he's like fighting with, and the dude like loses his shit and whatever. Anyway, so he says stuff like that I always kind of roll my eyes at, but he really does win you over by the end of the section.
Yeah, I really like it. It was difficult to start reading it because of the way it's written. It's written as if a person is talking in English whose native language is not English. Like, they're just learning how to talk in English, and their sentence structure is different than what we're used to.
That's a good point, yeah. Think about it that way.
So, like, my mind had to acclimate to reading the way it's written, but the way it's being told reminds me of being told a fairy tale, especially since it's fantasy and there's all these strange creatures and the setting is so fantastical.
So one quote that kind of made me laugh and like the kind of like shocked nervousness, like, you know, that kind of laugh. You're like, oh my god.
Yeah.
Is actually at the very beginning, and he's talking about the boy, whoever the fuck he is. Though I may have wanted him dead, craved for it the way a glutton craves goat flesh. Oh, to draw a bow and fire it through his black heart and watch it explode, black blood, and to watch his eyes for when they stop blinking, when they look but stop seeing, and to listen for his voice croaking and hear his chest heave in a death rattle saying, look, my wretched spirit leaves this most wretched of bodies, and to smile at such tidings and dance at such a loss. That's so dramatic.
I don't know what this boy did, but he does not like him.
No, nope, not at all.
We're not done with this book yet. We're reading it as we do these videos. So Mary's a little bit ahead of me. So I'm going to be pissed if you spoil anything for me. I feel like this needs to be said. This book is very graphic. Like, it's more graphic than you'd expect it to be. They talk about sex a lot, and it's not romantic. It's not like regular relationships. They talk about it just as a bodily function. So there's a lot of talk about sex and genitals and stuff like that. So
yeah, it did. It really surprised me. I was like, oh,
I was not expecting that. At one point, Kava takes in Tracker into his own house. He has his own place, even though he's a child.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know how old. They don't really say how old, but at one point, Kava takes Tracker into his hut because there's a argument with the chief, the uncle.
Yeah.
So they're like, they're living together, and they even have a relationship, like a romantic. Well, it's not romantic. It's a sexual relationship. And Kava seems really nice and sweet. Well, not sweet, but like caring in a abrasive kind of way.
Yeah.
At some points. And then when they go to the forest to meet the leopard and the Mingi, apparently Kava and the leopard have been friends for a while. They're lovers, like, and Tracker sees them together. It's not like a thing. So it's not like he's cheating. He's not upset. It upset me. Because Kava's having a sexual relationship with both Tracker and the leopard at the same time. And it's very casual, but there was no talk of it. And it bothered me.
Well, it's like there was no talk of it, but there's like clearly Kava preferred the leopard. And it was almost like Kava wanted the leopard to love him. That's kind of how I read it, especially like at the end when he like storms off.
Yeah, that's how I read it too. I feel like he was just using Tracker because he was available. He's with the leopard, and Kava gets very upset when the Sangoma sends Tracker and leopard off to go do a mission for her. He gets jealous, basically. He gets jealous.
Yeah.
And thinks that Tracker and leopard are sleeping together, or they have some kind of relationship, and he gets very upset and storms off. He tries to talk Tracker out of going, then tries to strangle him, and leopard pulls him off of Tracker.
Yeah.
Then on their way back, when they find the hideout where all where the Sangoma is keeping all the Mingi children, and they find it burned up and all those people dead, it was because Kava brought the coup there.
Yeah.
Kava was upset because he was jealous, and he burned a bunch of kids.
I mean, that's bothersome enough, but the fact, too, that throughout the first section, he's so affectionate with the Mingi, and he like gets upset with Tracker for, talking about them like they're actually cursed children, and educates him, and like goes into like points out this child because she looks like this. She's a Mingi, and goes on and gets upset with Tracker. Tracker wasn't there for very long, and he got taken up to the Sangoma's hut, and Kava had never been there. All the children like love Kava. They jump all over him. They sleep with him, like they pile on and sleep with him. No, Kava at first, and then
at first,
the longer, the longer that Tracker's there, that like I don't think they stop, cuddling with him or whatever, but they do split off and start also really liking Tracker.
Yeah,
and
especially
he like
the smoke girl.
Yes, oh my god.
It's so cute. I have it marked in here, like when they're playing, when he's playing with the children and all the and the smoke girl and everything. I have it marked saying that he's learning how to be a child again. Like,
aww,
it was cute.
Yeah, that was him and her were just like my favorite. Tracker and smoke girl, and just like 3 hearts.
It's so cute. And then it made me tear up when he had to leave her with that other tribe, and he was like yelling at her to quit following them.
That scene just gets to me every time, and even just thinking about it, I'm like, why did you leave her and like reject her like that? She's been rejected so much in her life, and
I have here marked the quote that you had sent me a picture of this part of the book, and that's what made me be like, I want to buy that too. And then we started reading it for this channel, and that is Tracker is talking to Kava. They're on their way through the woods to meet Leopard and the Sangoma and them, and Tracker says, so these are enchanted woods? And Kava replies, these are hot-tempered woods if you don't shut up.
Yeah, I love that part. I took a note of that too, like just all in caps, like a giant ass magical trees. Yes. I want to go there.
Yeah. For a note on the setting I have is this whole book so far has read like a dream-like travel montage. Like where you see the characters walking, traveling, and as they go, the scenery around them changes.
Yep. Some funny things is the leopard. So in this description, behind him, the hair on his head went down to his neck, across his back, and down to a point and disappeared above his buttocks. And I was like, so he just has a big arrow down to his butt? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, it was very hard for me to try to picture that in my head, just because apparently Tracker's attracted to this leopard, but which sounds very wrong, but he's that hairy. When he turns into a person, he has that much hair. He's still attractive.
So still, I guess no shame. People are like furries and stuff, so whatever,
Oh God, no. No. I have a prediction for later on in the book. One point Tracker says about the leopard, he didn't frighten me, nor did he intend to. Everything he stirred was below my waist. I feel I'm shipping them.
Yeah.
I'm hoping.
I shipped them for a time too. There's just something so cold and unavailable about the Leopard that's like, this would work in a fan fiction and a book, but I can't help connecting it with people I've known. So I'm like, okay.
Yeah, but I have a thing for fan fiction. So, of course, when I start seeing a potential relationship, I'm like, all these possibilities. I need to go look for fan fiction.
Yes. Yeah, I briefly shipped Kava and Tracker, but as that went on, well, yeah, a little bit before that too. He it's right before that, and he's like painting Tracker's thighs, and Tracker didn't want him to.
Right.
It was so creepy. I was like,
well, okay. The first time that they had an encounter, it was creepy too, because they were watching some kind of ritual through the bushes, and it was like a sex ritual in the middle of the night, and they were in the bushes, and Kava started touching Tracker, and there was no talk of consent or like.
He was pretty into it at that point.
But it was just he kind of did.
He was
without
surprised.
Asking.
Yeah,
he was surprised.
Yep. Which is very much Kava, for sure.
Yeah. So the way it started out was kind of creepy too.
I really think it's interesting the way they're approaching gender as well.
Yeah.
Tracker's uncle.
Okay.
Tells him, in the beginning, we are all born of two. You are man and you are woman. And just as a girl is a woman and she is a man. And then they have to be considered like truly a man, they have to get, I think, circumcised.
Yeah, I think it's circumcision, right? And they say to cut out the man from the woman too. And I know that there's genital mutilation is a thing.
Yeah, female genital mutilation.
Because that belief that you're born with both and it has to be cut out is only known to the Ku. Like, the Gangatom and like the people from the north think that that's not correct. They don't think that it needs to be cut out.
This is Tracker, and he's saying it to the Inquisitor. Here is my belief. The first man was jealous of the first woman. Her lightning was too powerful, her screams and moans too loud enough to wake up the dead. That man could never accept that the gods would gift the weaker woman with such riches. So before every girl becomes a woman, man sets up to steal it, cut it away, and throw it in the bush. Man will pay for this. It's like, fuck it. Yeah, they will. So I loved it.
Yeah, I like that too.
It's like right there, I was like, I love you, Tracker. You got me. Upsetting things. There's like there's the consent stuff. There's another consent thing that like this really, I was like, am I supposed to laugh at this or what? Like at the end when the children are like given to the Gangatom or the Gangatom, however, and it kind of tells you like who adopts who. And it says, 2 women grabbed Giraffe Boy, one by the ass cheek, and took him to their hut. I was like, how is that okay? Am I supposed to laugh? Am I supposed to be like happy for him? Like,
it's so vague that maybe there was like maybe there was a conversation and kind of like a goodbye montage scene. Like you're only seeing parts of it.
Yeah, I get that.
That's what I want to believe.
Right. For me, I needed to like have that shown or something because he's still a kid, and it's like his 2 women are like basically taking him away to have sex with him.
They do treat sex in the book very casually and very much like it's not a big deal, like it's not a thing, and it's kind of uncomfortable.
Yeah.
We decided to do this fun thing where we're going to fan cast who we want for the characters if it was made into a movie. And I always do this anyway. I don't pick actors or actresses. If I can't think of their description right away in my head, I go to Pinterest and I fan cast for the characters. So if you were the casting director for this to be made into a movie, who would you pick as your main characters?
So before I start saying any names, I just want to say I'm sorry if I say any of them incorrectly. So for Tracker, I was thinking Daniel Kaluuya. He's from Get Out. He's the main actor for that. Because I've seen him in a few other roles too, and he does like the conflicted and then sometimes like just angry and then can be kind of funny and goofy. He can do all of that pretty well and like convincingly, like, oh yeah, like this is like the way of real, like this character is real. You know what I mean? So then for Kava, I was thinking, oh god, I hope I say his name right. It's EKA, so Eka, and then the last name is Darville. And he's from Jessica Jones. He plays a character that is a drug addict, but like also just still a really good person that really cares about people. And then he gets clean, and
Is he the one that lives in her apartment building?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like him.
Yeah. And I think he is capable of doing that, like, because Kava, you know, in some scenes is really wise and, you know, seems kind and stuff, but in other scenes, obviously, he goes, you know, kind of off the rails, which, you know, he's played a drug addict before. You know, a drug addict, like, that character shows, like, all those sides. And, you know, he's a really good actor. As the uncle, Yaphet Kotto, he was from Alien. He's like one of the two mechanics. He's funny and kind of gregarious, but I could see him playing, you know, that other side of the uncle. Like the uncle has that part where he's like kind of charming and stuff and funny, and then also was like cowardly. I mean, his character in Alien was not cowardly by any means, but I could see him like being able to do that, like acting wise. And as his mother, I was thinking Lupita Nyong'o.
I know the first name and I love her.
Yes. Yeah. She's played so many different characters. You know, I feel like she can play anything.
I keep remembering her in that blue dress on one of those red carpet events, and it was gorgeous. She's so pretty.
Yeah. Yeah, she is. Then this is how I'm going to explain this one, because I don't know if you're going to agree with me or not. The Sangoma, to me, you know, she's got this like kind of goofy, sarcastic side to her, but also really serious.
Yeah.
And Whoopi Goldberg has played all of that, and she's a really good actress. And I think she would be perfect.
That would be great. Yeah. I wasn't even thinking about her, but yes, I like that choice.
Yeah.
Yay.
I wasn't sure if you're going to be like, what?
No, I like that choice.
For Leopard, I was thinking Michael B. Jordan.
Oh, that fits.
He plays a similar character when it comes to like character traits. Like not character story exactly, but that's who I picked.
All right. Mine, I only picked 3. I picked one for, 4. So I don't have explanations for them like Mary does, and there's no reason why, because I'm a visual person. So I just looked up Pinterest and picked what I was picturing in my head.
Works.
So if you were writing a fan fiction, since you actually write, you could do this for me. If you were writing a fan fiction, what would you change, or what kind of story would you tell about it?
Okay, I I just loved like the Leopard and Tracker and the Mingy children so much, and I was so upset when they like freaking abandoned them. Right? So in my fan fiction, they would stay together and all like go on adventures and stuff because they could work as a team, like use their unique, traits that made them outcasts and easily turned them into something useful that they could use in adventures.
I like it. My idea is almost exactly like yours, so you need to write this for us. The Leopard and Tracker get together, because I ship them. I always end up shipping someone. The Leopard and Tracker get together, and they stay together, and they adopt all the Mingy children.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't even think of them as vampires until I was looking up their names, because they're actually creatures in like their mythology. Obaifo, which stood out to me. I mean, they go in like, I think specifically like children's blood is what they drink. But I just really liked that it said they have phosphorescent armpits and anuses when they fly.
Okay.
I don't understand it, but I love it. I knew that I was going to hit the wall and I would curse her and the baby who was probably still sucking her breast, because perhaps he was not a baby at all, but a blood-sucking Obaifo with light coming from his armpits and asshole.
Oh. All right, then. So does that mean he just walks around with like a light shining out of his ass?
Well, it's only in flight, supposedly. I don't understand why it would make sense. It doesn't make sense to me. But what in mythology and folklore really makes sense? Sasa Bonsum and the Awesome Bosom. Fuck, I don't know how to say it.
I'm not gonna try to pronounce anything.
They torture their victims, and it says that Asan Bosom likes flesh and Sasa Bonsum likes blood and seed.
Yeah.
Thank God we don't see anything like that. But,
right. So
but the
one of
blood
them eats the body, the other one eats the bodily fluids. When Leopard and Tracker go on the mission for the Sangoma, they find this weird, like, mystical forest in the middle of a desert. That's the way I remember reading it. And it was way more gory and violent than I thought this book was going to go, and I loved it. It was great. It's described as intestines and guts hanging from the trees like vines.
That's so gross. Yeah.
Yeah. Since we're doing sections, we're not going to do the bingo until we're finished with the book, because we only want to do one. We only want to check off one box for the book. Yeah. Takeaways from this was, it's amazing. I love it. That's only the first 100 pages.
Yeah.
So
excited to talk about more sections and to finish the book and kind of see how it ties up. The first like 20 pages or so, you acclimate after that to like the style of writing and whatnot. So it's worth reading at least the first section and see how you feel about it. Yeah,
because after it gets past most of the telling of a story and more into the dialogue parts, when it gets more into the dialogue parts, it's not as difficult to understand. Like, by that time, you've acclimated to reading, to the writing style.
Yep.
And we'll see you next time for section 2.
Yeah.
Bye.
Yay. Bye. Turns out Tracker is a furry.